It's that time of the week, time to answer questions from the audience. We answer 3 questions at the end of the Friday show. Always, Lewis, one of the most popular segments on YouTube. First question today is from Carson. Carson says, should children have legal obligations to parents after reaching adulthood in the way that parents have legal obligations to children before they are adults? My reaction to this is sort of two-sided. On the one hand, my empathetic side says, yeah, I mean, maybe not by law, but parents raise their children when they can't care for themselves. Why shouldn't children have a responsibility to parents when the parents are entering a phase when they can't care for themselves? A few problems with this, though. Number one is the issue of the legal structure and sort of consent. The reason parents have legal obligations to children, in part, is that as a society, we've determined that before a certain age, right, children cannot yet have informed consent over their many elements of their lives. So this changes whether we're talking about a 2-month-old or a 2-year-old or a 12-year-old or someone who's 17 years and 11 months old, right? That it varies over time. But there's sort of a legal reason where we've said below a certain age, you're not yet at a place emotionally and in terms of your development where you can make certain decisions for yourselves. What are we saying if we say there are legal obligations to children for their parents? Are we saying that when you get beyond a certain age, you also enter a period of life where you are not able to make certain decisions for yourself? Certainly adults with certain conditions as they become older might be in those situations, but to say that we should pass a law that applies to everybody, that would certainly be problematic, Lewis. And the other problem that I see here is, and this is a very, I don't want to say it's a utilitarian argument, but parents generally choose to have children. Now, even when you could say, well, there could be unintended pregnancies. Okay, yes, I guess, but presumably you should still have access to abortion. And you may say, well, not everybody would. Fine, there are exceptions to this. But generally speaking, the act of having children, and you could choose to adopt out as well. You would, if you don't, then you're choosing to raise that child. You're choosing in a way to take this responsibility over the child. As a child, you're not really choosing to be born, right? Now, that's an argument that can be misused in many ways. And
you're not choosing to have parents.
You're not choosing to have parents. Yeah. I don't know how strong of an argument that is, but these are some of the ideas that came to mind when I was thinking about this question.
Yeah, but parents do in a way have the ability to opt out even after the child is born, because until that child reaches that age of consent,
right,
the parents can give that child up for adoption.
They can.
And in a way, when you bring your mother or father, grandmother, grandfather to a home or a place that they're cared for, in a way, it's kind of like them being in foster care almost.
To a certain extent it is, yeah. And I think the important thing is the question says, should there be a legal obligation? Right. My sort of moral and ethical feelings and my feelings based on empathy are one set of feelings, as I've said. Legally, though, I think it would be incredibly problematic to say until the child is 18, the parents have legal responsibilities. And once the parent is older than X, the child has legal responsibilities. I see any number of compelling reasons to oppose that.
Yes, I think legally we should not implement any laws like this. Was it China that we talked about? It was a long time ago. It was either China or Japan, where there was a law that basically said children have to go visit their elderly parents a certain number of times.
I thought it was Japan.
Maybe Japan, yeah. Really interesting story if you want to look that up and revisit it, because it kind of gets into this whole thing.
Send me your thoughts on this one. Interesting question. A lot of angles to approach it from.